Hello and welcome! In this video, we're going to see how we can use the process assessment tool to calculate the automation score for a process. For that, we'll check out a real-world example. Ready to start? Taylor is an accountant at a manufacturing company, and one of their major duties is processing a huge stack of invoices every day. Unfortunately, this task is tedious and eats up a lot of their time, keeping them from focusing on other crucial parts of their job. Taylor's company is thinking about jumping on the automation bandwagon to free up their employees from boring, repetitive tasks by handing them over to robots. They want to try out automation on a few processes as a test run. Taylor needs to write a proposal that explains how automating invoice processing can benefit both the employees and the organization. So to kick off this exercise, Taylor writes down all the steps involved in the task. Step 1 is getting the invoices by email. Afterwards, they download all the attachments. Third on the list, Taylor heads over to the client portal and enters the client code from the invoice to verify if the customer qualifies for a discount. Finally, in the last step, they save the files as PDFs and send them further down the chain via email. Now, Taylor has to figure out if their project meets the organization's criteria to be chosen for the pilot run. To do this, we're going to help Taylor out by using the process assessment tool. This tool evaluates the readiness for automation and the level of ease with which a process can be automated, ultimately resulting in an automation score that depicts the feasibility for automation. Alright, so the process assessment tool assesses the process by analyzing its attributes. For each attribute listed in the first column, Taylor has to type in the detail for their process by answering the question in the second column. Simple enough, right? Let's get going. The first row is all about the input type. Taylor has to tell the tool what kind of data they're dealing with for the process they want to automate. And if they're not sure, no worries, because the explanation column is there to support them with tips and tricks. Taylor's data falls into the digital and structured category, because the invoices follow the same structure. So we'll enter that. In the next row, we'll input the likelihood of the process changing in the next 6 months. Taylor's process seems stable and is unlikely to change, so we'll go with no change expected. Moving on to the third question. Are Taylor's applications or documents expected to change in the next 6 months? No, that's surely not happening. So we'll also type here, no change expected. Alright, let's now proceed to the benefits section of the tool. Taylor's invoice processing process is simple with just one employee, Taylor, and invoice processing is something that's done on a daily basis. Moving on to transactions volume. As Taylor processes 5 invoices on average per day, we'll type that in. Then, we'll input the average handling time per transaction in minutes. Taylor says it takes 3 minutes per transaction, so that's what we'll go with. And for human errors, we'll assume a 10% chance of mistakes happening. Now, how do we characterize the peaks of the process? According to Taylor, they happen pretty regularly, especially at the end of the month. And when they hit, they last for days or even weeks in a row, increasing the team's workload by more than 20%. That's a serious surge. Next up, we'll look at process complexity in the tool. But don't worry, this one's pretty easy. There are only 10 or fewer steps involved in the process, so we'll just type that down. As for the decisions involved in the process, Taylor says they're pretty simple. It's just a matter of answering yes or no to get the job done. So we'll make sure to mention that as well. For the next question, Taylor was asked how often they have to rely on someone else for input, and they said it never happens, so we can mark that as 0%. Taylor's got this process under control. Moving on to the next question. According to Taylor, they use 2 to 3 applications to complete the process, and they don't need to access them through virtual machines. So we can record that there are 2 to 3 applications involved and no virtual machines required. We've now reached the last section of the process assessment tool. All of the data involved in the process is digital, so we can mark that as 100%. Additionally, none of the inputs are scanned, so we can confirm that as well. For the last question, Taylor says that most of the data they work with exists in set fields and has a specific format, so we can mark that as structured data. They feel that we can go with more than 80% for the percentage of structured input data. According to the process assessment tool, the process seems like a good candidate for automation. The ease of implementation is low, the benefit high, which suggests that automating the process could lead to significant improvements and efficiencies. Moreover, the ease of development suggests that the process can be automated by Taylor themselves, which makes it even more appealing. This could save the company time and money by not having to give this to developers, and Taylor has a chance to learn a new skill. The bandwidth freed up by automating the process is 64 man-hours per year, which is a significant amount of time that could be redirected toward other tasks. Additionally, the fact that the error reduction rate is a whopping 98% is also impressive, as this could help to improve the overall accuracy and reliability of the process. Overall, it seems like the process is a strong candidate for the pilot, and Taylor is confident that the management will choose it to move forward with automation. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.